Greetings and welcome, friends. It's great to have you guys here today, me and my fellow geometricians. I've got my calculator, which knows all sorts of values of sine, cosine, tangent, and their respective inverses. It says this in question 5. Determine which of the two angles has the given trigonometric ratio. So 0.96, that's like almost 1. That means my numerator needs to be almost the size of my denominator. And I have a feeling that 24 over 25, is that equal to 0.96? I'm going to say yes. And in the world of 24 and 25, I would need the 24 to be opposite in order for sine to be the thing that I'm looking for. So that's the opposite. The 25 AC is the hypotenuse. So the only angle that would have made sense is angle A. So I would say that sine of A is equal to 24/25. Am I right there, Nick? Yeah, thumbs up. That's also a great scarf. Great scarf. As Mr. Waddy's eyes scan the room to see if he has the opportunity to sing the SpongeBob song, striped sweater, sadly not today. Question 11. If angle D is an acute angle, use the calculator to approximate the value. So if tan of D is equal to 0.28, how do I get D by itself? That was my response, internet friends, was which, by the way, feel free to make that a ringtone. I'm not multiplying. Now listen to my language. I'm taking the tan inverse of both sides. All right, so I'm not actually multiplying, because then my question for you would be, am I multiplying D by tan? No. Because this would not make sense. So that's not actually multiplication going on. Tangent you could think of as a function, and I am inputting D into it, and its output is 0.28. And so what I'm doing to get rid of that is plugging this into the tan inverse function, or I might word it as I'm taking the tan inverse of both sides. I know, it's vocabulary, it's terminology. So these tan inverse and tan undo each other. I'm left with D by itself, and the tan inverse of 0.28 is equal to 15.6 degrees, like so. All right, let's see. I'm scared. Here we go. All right, solve the right triangle. Solve the right triangle. Let's find angle X first, and I'm going to highlight my sides. So YZ is the opposite, right? OPP. Ladies, gentlemen, quiet please. The adjacent would be the YX or XY, and the hypotenuse, as always, is the longest side, and it is going to be opposite of the right angle. So if I'm looking at these and I want to find angle X, the sides that I do know are adjacent and hypotenuse, or hypotenuse and adjacent. Which trig ratio compares those two things? So adjacent and hypotenuse, that is Here we go. So that's cosine. So I'm going to say that the cosine of X is equal to adjacent over hypotenuse. Yeah, 3/9. And I could reduce that, but I don't even need to. To solve, I'm going to cos inverse both sides. Yeah, it takes a little while to get used to this idea of inverse trig functions, so just don't you fret. So if I, in my calculator, hit second cos, it gives me the cos inverse. I could do 3 divided by 9, or 1 divided by 3. I believe in the calculator you guts to close that parenthesis in this case. Let me actually try. Maybe 70.52, or if I close parentheses, 70.5. Okay, so it worked out either way. Fine. So 70.5 is what I'll call that, degrees. So for a inverse trig function, you input a ratio to the inverse function, and it outputs an angle. Okay? That's the way they work. So if I wanted to find angle Z, I could just do 90 minus 70.5 degrees. And angle Z is going to be, what's that, like 19.5? No response. All right, I'm getting a yes. And if I want to find YZ, what could I do? If I want to rely just on the information they gave me, what would I do? Yeah, Pythagorean Theorem. So I could say YZ squared plus 3 squared equals 9 squared. So that's plus 9 equals 81. I just don't feel like writing YZ squared over and over here. YZ squared equals, 81 minus 9. What's that, like? 72? Boop, boop, doo. Root both sides. And technically plus or minus, but we're talking about triangles, so I'm going to ignore the negative answer, even though algebraically there are two. So YZ is equal to the square root of 72. Is there a perfect square that goes into 72? Nothing? Is 4, is 16 even? 4 sounds like it would. Oh, wait a minute. 36. Oh, wow. There we go. Square root of 36 times 2 is 6 rad 2. They asked for the nearest tenth, so we'll give it to them. 8.5, I'm being told. So YZ is approximately 8.5. Arguably, I should have gone back and made all of these into squeakle signs, as I like to call them. For why I call them that. Why would I have called them squeakles? A squiggly equals. Wow, there it is. I was going to say we'll have to go back to, like, through my 1,000 videos and see when I first originated calling. I don't know. I'm at view. I'm at a view where I'm at, something like that. Just one. Let's see. All right. Someone told me this problem was one that I should do, and I'm scared of it. I haven't read it yet. I don't remember it. Maybe I have. Okay. So ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look at this. So if this is x degrees, then this is x degrees. These are parallel, so this is also x degrees. Do you guys agree or disagrees? Disagrees. All right. So here's my angle. I'm actually just doing stuff. I don't even know if this is helpful yet. They wanted me to find x. Okay, there we are. And the ratio of riser to tread is 7 to 11. Now, that doesn't mean that is 7 and this is 11, although those are perfectly fine dimensions. Actually, no, it's still a ratio. That's weird. Ratios actually shouldn't have units in them. A ratio has no units. Huh. Well, either way, doesn't matter. So from x's perspective, the riser is my OPP, and the tread is my adjacent, or the adjacent. What trig ratio compares the op and the adj, or the adj and the op? Tangent. That sounds like TOA to me. Krakatoa. Tangent of x degrees. That's when Squidward was part of the whatever. I can't even remember. I just know that every villain is lemons. No. No one's picking up on the. Come on. Every villain is lemons. Krakatoa, I believe. When they joined Barnacle Boy and Mermaid Man. Why did I put X in degrees there? So second, tan inverse of 7 divided by 11. I get X is 32.5 degrees. And then they ask, you want to build stairs that are less steep than the stairs in part A. Given an example of a riser to tread ratio you could use. Oh, so this is a hypothetical. Did you guys have to do this on the online version? Oh, options. Give me one of those options that worked. Oh. 8 to 15 is 8 divided by 15. That's 0.53 repeating. Is that less than? And it is. Okay, so let's say I've got 8. Did you give me a real value, or you're just making something up? So there's X. So I would say tanks is equal to 8/15. And I would tan verse both sides. All right, I got to pick up the pace here. How long is this video going? Only 11 minutes. Okay, so X is approximately equals tan inverse of 8/15. I got 28.1, but it sounds as though you could have had multiple values. Last problem. Okay, let's cruise. Solve each triangle. Guys, we'll see if I bother doing all that. I don't know if we have time. Opposite from 41 degrees is that. The adjacent is that. So the hypotenuse is that. If I want to find KM, let's say, that's the opposite. I'd want to compare it to the adjacent. What trig ratio? Tangent. Yeah, Toa! Krakatoa. SOHCAHTOA. So tan of 41 degrees is going to equal KM. Yeah. I forget what M's look like. Multiply both sides by 9. And I got KM is equal to 9 times the regular tan of 41. Now, regular trig functions, ladies and gentlemen, you input an angle in a regular trig function. You input an angle, and then you get, like, a ratio that happens. So when tan 41 gives me a decimal answer, it's giving me the ratio. Okay. Let's find angle L. Yeah. That's annoying. Yeah. It's annoying. So guys, let's say I'm trying to find angle L. I just found 7.8. Yeah, and my rounding error, depending on what I do, is going to get exaggerated throughout the problem. And apparently, online, the big ideas might yell at you when you've used your own derived information sequentially, that error becomes more and more, that eventually you're off by a 10th. So if I want to find angle L, 7.8 is the opposite, and 21 is the hypotenuse. What trig ratio compares those two things? Sine, yes. Sine of L is going to equal 7.8 over 21. And if I want to solve for L, what do? I take the sine inverse of both sides. Also, math on the street, you might call that the sinverse of both sides, but no one else calls it that. L is equal to the sinverse of 7.8 divided by 21. and I get 21.8. And that's degrees right there. So I'm not going to solve for all of that, but you've got some stuff to go on. Yeah. So if I used the full approximation of 7.8, if I still had that in my calculator, I'm guessing I could have gotten 21.9. So yeah, so that's weird. Well, thanks for watching, internet friends. Bye-bye. Mr. Krabs, I have an idea.